Yeah. That's how you can have mine too.
We saved you the hottest seat.
Oh, listen. I came from here.
Would you bring a free drink?
No free drink. That's all you.
First, we had you covered. Dan said nothing.
I'll take it. Feel free. Ready for Thanksgiving? I was just telling my staff about it. It'll be amazing. Yeah.
It's there. Oh, okay. I got a chance to see my 20 minutes. Yeah, the basketball tournament will be and the championships will be on the
I know.
So hopefully we're not playing early, like the early rounds.
Yeah. Maybe I think that's fair.
But I know in the past that's
They just take over the gym. To give it. Thank you.
You gotta stay healthy, you gotta play team basketball. If you do that, you're in a good position.
Gwen and I were just at Athletics. But, it's only my second time there. It was so good.
All right, we're gonna go ahead and get started. If you all want to make your ways to your seats. Thank you guys all so much for coming. A little bit of a full house. I'll kind of give you guys an announcement about hopefully not having too much of a full house next semester. But first, I wanted to welcome all of our lovely UCAB guests today. If you guys wanted to give them a round of applause. So first to my left, we have Curtis Parker, then we have Dan Hauser, then Crystal Harvey, and then Peter Mandala. If you guys want to kind of explain what you do on campus, that would be amazing.
Okay, I'm the Vice President of IT, so anything dealing with your computers you call Dan, but on the network side I'll take care of. No, anything with IT comes through me, comes under our office.
I serve as the athletic director here at High Point University, Dan Hauser, and I oversee our 17 sports. Along with this year, we have moved intercollegiate club sports under athletics, so that's a new branch of our athletic department.
Hello, I'm Crystal Harvey. Again, I'm the Assistant Vice President for Housing and Residence Life. So I oversee all of our housing operations, so our housing assignments process, and also our Residence Life team, which takes care of the residential experience, which includes the RAs and our community directors.
My name is Pete Mandala. I oversee the dining operations. I don't officially oversee the fine dining, but we collaborate with those guys. So all of the 19 other restaurants, plus catering, arena, concessions, and all that good stuff.
Alrighty, thank you guys. So we have a ton of questions tonight, but also some great guests. So again, thank you guys so much. We're gonna go ahead and get started super quickly. This first question is for Pete. Would it be possible to look into building a Panda Express on campus, and also maybe a market similar to Wanik and Yakin and Panther Commons?
Yeah. So right now, I don't believe there are any plans to add additional restaurants. Right now, we've got 22 dining locations on campus. So I know some of the questions you guys are gonna ask are things that necessarily I oversee, but I don't have control over. So as always, I'm gonna take notes and collaborate with the school and try to, sometimes get things on a list, right? If there's ever a new building that's built or a new restaurant, we can look at adding some of these items. The name of the game is if you add something, you take something away. And at HPU, I think that's always kind of the catch. So right now, I don't think we plan to replace any restaurants or add any. The market at Panther is an interesting one. Once again, I don't believe there's any space in there. And as you know, you guys, dine in there and are in that building. Our spaces are very small. So I'd say right now, probably not, but that is interesting. Something to look at down the road if there is a space. But we have the market, we have the two markets plus the diner and the grill have C-store components, but.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Pete. So I did, by chance, get a bit ahead of myself. So if you guys want to go ahead and scan this for attendance.
He's ready to jump out of it.
Alrighty, now back to the questions. So this one's for Curtis. Is there any way to make the HPU VIA Connect TVs to TV and cultural study rooms more user-friendly? Oftentimes, they do not allow students to connect even if the correct steps are taken.
Okay, great question, and I appreciate it. One of the things about IT, apologize for using my hand, it's an old guy thing, is it's always a snapshot in time. So when someone says the room's not working, we go there and it works. So what I've done is we're doing a survey right now of all of the collaborative space, not just in cultural, to look at our documentation. Make sure it's correct. Are there ways we can streamline that process? And we are always looking for tools that would make it better, enhance it, make it easier. But what I'd really like you to do is talk to whomever. When you're having a problem, we have someone at the service desk till 11 o'clock at night. If you're having a problem, please call them, because they can come over there. Sometimes it's as simple as rebooting the system. Somebody may have connected to the VIA box and didn't log out correctly, and it jammed it up. It's not a really technical term, but anyway. But please call them, or if not, send an email to servicedesk@highpoint.edu. They'll check it first thing the next morning. But really, let us know, and not just for cultural. Anytime you run into an IT issue, please send an email to the service desk or to me directly. Or if you want to, say, hey, Curtis, could we meet over here and look at this? I'll be happy to. Do it a lot here on campus. So.
Perfect. Thank you, Curtis. This next one is for Crystal. What is the reasoning behind Kathy and York not being homesteadable? Will this ever change in the future?
Yes, this is such a creative question. I really am intentional about looking at what homesteading looks like year to year. So as most of you know, homesteading is the first step in our housing process. And once homesteading happens, those spaces are locked in. So when we do time slots, students don't have access to those spaces. So we really need to balance the amount of communities that we have that are homesteadable and that are not, so that students have a fair chance at getting housing in various locations on campus. So Kathy and York are very popular, so that's why they are not one that's homesteadable. And right now, I don't see that changing.
Gotcha. Thank you, Crystal. This next one is for Dan. What's your vision for the athletic department as a whole in the next 3 to 5 years?
Great question. I've been here 12 years, and so when I first got here at HPU, we were winning maybe 3 or 4 conference championships a year. We had never won a game in the NCAA tournament. We really didn't have maybe much regional or national relevance. And so our focus right away was just to dominate our conference, see how we could become the most dominant team in the Big South Conference. Could we win games in the NCAA tournament? Could we advance at that stage and that platform? And it's exciting to say 12 years later, I mean, this past year we won 13 conference championships. We won the Big South Conference Sasser Cup for the 4th year in a row. We won the women's all-sport trophy, the men's all-sport trophy, multiple years in a row now. So that domination is occurring. We have won 4 NCAA tournament games in a multitude of sports. So we've accomplished that. So our vision and our goals moving forward is how can we get multiple teams ranked in the top 25 in the nation. And we've had some success doing a little bit of that. If you've been following our soccer team, we are currently ranked 9th in the nation in men's soccer. We believe we have some other sports that are in position to be ranked. Our men's basketball team, I believe, is in the top 10 in mid-major college basketball. And we were one of only 24 teams in the country to send 2 men's and women's basketball team to the NCAA tournament. So that progress is occurring, and that's our vision for the next 3 to 5 years is how can we get multiple teams ranked in the top 25, how can we get to the NCAA tournament and advance to rounds of 16, Elite 8. That's what our focus is of student athletes and coaches.
Thank you. So back up to the top, this one is for Pete. Is there a way for the CAF to serve strawberries in the fruit section? Secondly, would it be possible to implement gluten-free pancakes in the Village Grill and Silverline Diner, especially because they are on mobile ordering?
Yeah, the strawberries is a good one. I think we do need to do a better job with getting more fruit, variety of fruit. We challenged the team this summer, and I think they did a better job. We had pears, plums, different things like that, more berries on there. Strawberries are kind of out of season now, but yeah, that's one of our goals in the CAF is to kind of get different things like strawberries on there. I think that's important. So yes, we will definitely push for that. The gluten-free pancakes, that's a good one. The diner, some of our spaces are very small. So I talked to Chef John, he's our culinary director, oversees all the culinary on campus, and he thinks he has a workaround, kind of like what we do at the brunch place, and that place is really small, to get gluten-free. And we know we could do waffles, because you get a waffle iron that's just for those waffles. He thinks he has a workaround to try to do pancakes, so we might be able to get that going in January. So we can't do it on the grill, because we do so many burgers, hot dogs, everything else, but he feels like he's got a workaround, so we will definitely try to get that implemented in January. That was a good one.
Perfect, that's great to hear, Pete.
Yeah.
So this next one's for Curtis. What initiatives are we investing in to promote AI literacy throughout campus for students and faculty?
Okay, so in IT, we have a team called Educational Technology Services. And its sole purpose, it's a 5-member team, Dr. Ishan Liu leads that team. Their sole purpose is to figure out how we can bring new products to the student and the faculty to make it easier for them, not just in products, but also how can we train. So back in 23, we tried to do workshops for students. And, literally no one would show up. So I don't know, this group may be different. We do AI workshops now for faculty and for some staff. And we're bringing in, I won't jump ahead because there's a question later on about this, but if you go to service.highpoint.edu, that's a service hub for you. You can just go there. It's a place you can log in and you can just go up to the search and type in AI. And it'll show you some of the services that are available. They're constantly growing. Right now they're building out a section just for students so that they'll get an idea of what services they are. AI is such an interesting beast. It really challenges you to find out what tool you like. There was a gentleman named Daniel who spoke recently. He's a technology futurist, telling you what's ahead and stuff like that. Currently, there's 279 different AI tools out there. There's 47 just on how to do a PowerPoint presentation. So staying ahead is really tough. What I encourage you to do, though, the biggest thing you can do for an AI for yourself or for others you talk to, learn how to ask the question. Right? That's what AI is driven by, is by your question. They call it a prompt. So as you look at it, and there should be a section out there. If it's not, it'll be there soon. don't just say, write me a review of A Midsummer Night's Dream. No one would do that here, but I know they do in high school. Instead of doing that, ask, maybe say, give me a critical review of the main character in A Midsummer Night's Dream. Think of your question, how can you enhance it? But yeah, we're going to look at some workshops, but really if you could tell us through a survey or something, would students attend workshops if they were targeted just for AI? And we'll build them for you. So anyway, so that's really what we're trying to do. We have workshops for faculty, we have online tools, and we'll be happy to build it out for students, just as failed in the past.
Yeah, that's absolutely something that we can do. Just as a reminder, if you're not an acting member or an acting executive or a class president, you should not be on your computer or phone throughout this meeting, just to give respect to our panelists. So this next question is for Crystal. With the increase in enrollment heading into next year, will graduate students be required to live off campus? If so, how will this affect the 11 tuition-free master's program if housing is not guaranteed for graduate students?
We will continue to offer graduate housing for our graduate students. As always, graduate students do have the option to live off of campus. There is no live-on requirement like it is for our undergraduate students, but we do plan to continue to offer graduate housing in University Village, Odd-side, and then also in the university-owned houses in streets adjacent to the heart of campus.
Gotcha. Thank you. Dan, this one's for you. As our athletics teams continue to progress in both skill and stature, how can clubs and organizations best assist the athletic department in increasing total attendance at all sporting events?
I would definitely encourage everyone in this room to share the word. Follow us on Instagram, because that's where we put lots of graphics, game promotional graphics through that platform, and share them with your contacts and stuff, because that'll definitely get the messages out there about our theme nights and what we're pushing for, game day giveaways, a multitude of promotional elements that we're utilizing to try to encourage students to attend. Free tailgates, food, there's lots of information that's announced through Instagram. The other thing I would say is we have partnered with a lot of student leaders, and I welcome anyone in this room. There's some student leaders that are in this room that we've worked with, and if you're interested in engaging with athletics, feel free to shoot me an email at dhauser@highpoint.edu, because we have a student leader group. We talk to this group we were talking to them this summer, we're talking to them throughout the year, and we're asking that student leader group, what ideas for themes, what ideas for game day giveaways could we consider? How can we enhance or engage with student groups on campus more? And if you've been here long enough, you have seen our basketball attendance increased, and I pay a lot of compliments to that student leader group for helping us get basketball attendance heading in a really, really positive direction. So we encourage that, engage that, and want that. The other thing is please know that there are opportunities for you to host groups at our athletic events. We have the 3 grills that are there at Vert Stadium. Those are available for soccer games. They're available for lacrosse games in the spring. Any group that you're associated with can contact our marketing department, and we can make sure you have a tent there. We can make sure those grills are on. You need to bring your own grill food, hit Food Lion or hit someplace, but you can have a function there as an organization. We can do that for baseball games. We can do that for a multitude of our sports. So if you are looking for a social opportunity for one of your organizations, please don't hesitate to let us know. On top of that, for men's basketball games, we send out tent reservations for each men's game. And so we have 13 opportunities to reserve a tent table for basketball games pregame. Those are 2 hours before tip-off of the game. And if you would like to reserve those, I know we send them out to Greek Life, we send them out to SGA student organization. There's an opportunity for you to sign up to those. Please do that. Organize your group, bring them out to a game. It's great social. We do have free food that sometimes we are sponsoring out in that space. So really, you get 20 people around the tent. You don't have to do anything if there's free food there other than have a great time and cheer on our athletes. But if you are interested in engaging us as a student leader, feel free to email me at dhauser@highpoint.edu. I welcome it.
Yeah, absolutely. And if anybody wants to take a picture, his email is right behind his head. So, So this next one is for Pete. What is the process for reporting incidents of food poisoning and suspected expired food being served on campus?
Yeah, this is a good one, and I'm glad that you guys asked this. It's that time of the year when everybody's sick. So I do want to throw a little bit of caution out there that when you're sick, your roommate's sick, people on your hall are sick, it's not always food poisoning. Now, I've been doing this for 36 years, and I get it. When you're dealing with food and food safety, there's a lot that can go wrong really fast, right? We encourage people not to come to work when they're sick. If somebody comes to work when they're sick, if somebody doesn't wash their hands properly, they could make you sick. So these things happen in our world. It's inevitable. But I will say that probably I'd say 98% of the things that I get calls on, like me and my friends got food poisoning. And I'm like, oh, well, we need to look into it. Where did you eat? Well, I ate at Subway. My roommate ate at, Village Juice, and somebody ate at the diner. That's probably not food poisoning. It's probably you're just all sick. But the quickest way to get in touch to us and me and my team is hospitality@highpoint.edu. So if something's not right, I want to know about it. If something's great, I want to know about it. We get that instantaneously, and we do respond 7 days a week. So depending on the time of the day, you may get a response the next day. And a lot of times people use that if they I got double charged at Starbucks and I need a meal back. Okay, well, we'll look into it. But also if you see something like at the store out of date, yeah, you could send it, or you could just let the team know there. I'm at the diner today, always checking the milks, make sure okay, they go out of date tomorrow, are you gonna pull them? So those things are always gonna be important. But highpoint.edu, and if you think you got food poisoning, or if something doesn't feel right, you send it there, and we'll investigate. We'll make sure we got all our ducks in a row, all our processes. That's kind of the quickest way to get it to us, so that we can try to head off a potential issue. But I did want to mention this time of the year, because I always talk to the team, everyone's going to have food poisoning. But remember, people have the flu. There's a lot of stuff that's going to be going around. It's not always food poisoning. But I don't, never say never, right? Because like I said, things can go bad when you're dealing with food, really, really easily. So there's a lot that we have to worry about. And then you guys are definitely our eyes and our ears too, right? If you're somewhere and you see somebody that's not wearing a hairnet or wearing their gloves, send an email, because we will get on it. That's what it's there for. And anything food safety or anything in general that has to do with dining, whether it's good or bad, that's the quickest way. I will get it, and so does my leadership team.
Yeah, and we can go ahead and send that email. We can go ahead and send that email out in
please do
recap
that.
email.
That is the quickest way to get to me.
Absolutely, yeah. So this next one is for Curtis. How does the university intend to prevent another Blackboard outage like the one that occurred when AWS went out?
Well, the easy answer is we can't, right? A little background on this. Everybody knows about 8 or 10 years ago, the big push was to get everything in the cloud. Make it so that everybody has quick access to it. Make sure it's secure. Security is a big issue. But what you do when you put it in the cloud, you create other issues. And the issue that we run into with large data centers where all these are stored at is how easy it is to get a misconfiguration in there. So talking about Blackboard, AWS on October 19th, someone made a change. And because of the way that change was put in, it cascaded down, and it took about 37% of their services down. So during that outage, Blackboard was hit, a number of other services. So short answer is, what we do internally is we have what's called a desktop exercise, where we will meet with our security team, our network team, and some others, and we'll say, what could we have done? How could we have prevented this? In this case, not a lot we could have done. And then we'll have what's called a post-mortem, where we'll meet with Blackboard. We give them time to get into what they want to do, and then we'll sit down and meet with them and say, okay, our students, our faculty were impacted by this significantly at a time where they were getting ready for registration and all sorts of things going on. It wasn't a good time. And then we'll find out what they're recommending. There are some companies out there, because they're very liquid, they don't worry much about budgets. They'll go across multiple services. So they may have stuff over here in AWS and some over here in Microsoft Azure. But the funny thing is, that was October 19th. October 29th, Microsoft had a similar issue, where someone, again, how sensitive this is, I don't know if there's any programmers or anything in here. Microsoft, someone put a comma where there should have been a period. And when the system read that, it caused an outage, because it caused the services below to not know where they were going. So it lost its logic. So that's how we handle it. We allow the people who own it to have their meetings, and then we have a postmortem with them to see what we can do to improve it. There have been, I won't mention them, but there was a company that we stopped doing business with 5 years ago because their response to us, well, that's part of doing business in the cloud, you need to accept it. Well, we don't accept that, we don't expect you to accept that, so that's what we do. So hopefully, I don't want to get into really all the techie stuff, but we meet with the vendor regularly to see what we can do.
Great. Thanks, Curtis. So this next one's for Crystal. Is there, and if so, what is the plan for fixing, cleaning, and/or replacing the washers in Terrace?
So this is not my area of expertise. This will be under campus enhancement and facilities. However, I recognize that this impacts the residential experience, which also kind of falls under residence life, and so we're good campus partners and we work closely with facilities, so I do have an answer. So I did reach out to Dave Cheshire, who's the Assistant Vice President for Facility Operations. He did share that our washers and dryers are under a third-party vendor called Wash, and so when work orders are submitted, they also have to submit a ticket to their team, and so they're kind of under their jurisdiction of when they can come out and repair, and he said that those repairs are scheduled to be done next week. So if there continue to be issues, I'm happy to continue to be a liaison, but also Dave Cheshire, please harass him as well about facility concerns. He's a good human.
Sounds good. Okay, so this next one is for Dan. With NIL continuing to grow, what steps is HPU taking to help athletes navigate brand partnerships? And could there be room for collaboration with SGA or the business school on that front?
Yeah, this is a evolving space very quickly, and if you follow collegiate athletics, there was a big house settlement case that was solved this summer in California, and that allowed universities to decide whether they were going to opt in to house settlement or opt out. High Point University decided to opt in. About 85% of all Division I schools opted in to the house settlement. By opting in, we were allowed as a university to revenue share with student athletes up to our choice, up to a certain dollar amount. At the Power 4 level, that's $20.5 million. We do not rev share up to that level, and will historically probably never do that. But most of those schools that are doing that are associated with big football programs. You know, your Alabamas, your big programs, Ohio State, all across the country. They're probably rev sharing up to the maximum dollar amount. There is the ability to do NIL beyond rev share, and that has gotten a little bit more complex as well, because now there is a NIL Go clearinghouse. And so any student athlete that goes out on their own and wants to head up to Main Street and find a vendor or a company that wants to sponsor them, they can do that. However, if they secure a sponsorship contract with that company and it's valued over $600, then that sponsorship deal has to go to NIL Go, which is a clearinghouse that the NCAA has set up to make sure that the contract is fair, balanced, and is relevant to the market and has true market value. And what that means is someone can't just one time show up at a restaurant on Main Street and earn $100,000, because that would not represent fair market advertising rates across the country. So that has a little bit of complexity. But your question's great in the sense that there are opportunities perhaps for us to partner here on campus and see if there is a group or an entity here that would want to attempt to seek out NIL contracts for individual student athletes of their choice. Obviously, With the contract, the student athlete would have to make deliverables made. They may have to post X amount of times on their social media platform, advertising a brand or advertising a company. They may have to do in-store appearances. Some student athletes don't want to do that. But if you do go down the NIL space, you have to earn the corporate sponsorship through an asset sheet of listing that you're going to be able to execute. So this question made me think, if I am going to outreach to Daniel Hall and just see, if his thoughts running the School of Business, if there's opportunities that could perhaps bubble up in this space to where there's entities that want to advocate and sell for student athletes. So great question. It's a complex world and it's changing a lot over the years, but this question definitely made me think about that. If someone here has aspirations in this space, let me know. I think there are going to be a multitude of jobs in the future around rev share and around NIL. If you're a business major or you're interested in that career pathway.
Yeah, it's great to hear, Dan. Thank you. So this next one's for Pete. Why are there not daily vegetarian options in the CAF besides salads? For example, bean burgers are sometimes offered in the CAF as a standard meal, but it isn't regularly. Could there be more vegetarian options to be added to the CAF menu daily?
Yeah. So if you go to HPU Dine, you can go to the restaurant of your choice. You can actually filter down on allergens, vegan, vegetarian. So in the CAF, we actually have Harvested, which is a vegan vegetarian station. So for lunch and dinner, everything there is 100%. So we actually have created an entire station. Also on the crafted side, the other side of it, the action station, a lot of times there are vegetarian options there. So like tonight there was like a spicy hash brown bowl. There are options. Farmers Market too, which is our other all-you-can-eat residential. They do have quite a bit vegetarian items there. It's more suited for vegetarians, I believe. We have the pharmacy, the middle station, where we're cooking up a variety of vegetables and non-animal proteins. We have the Sabrosa station, the Tex-Mex, where we have beans and other options there. So I feel like it's adequate. I understand if you're vegetarian, you're maybe not getting everything that you want. I do believe that we do have some options. If you're vegetarian, there's some specific things that you'd like to see. Once again, shoot me an email through that hospitality, because maybe we're just not hitting things that you like. But that Harvested station is 100% vegetarian and vegan. And so if there's things that you like that you say, I really love this, is my favorite dish, I never see it, send it to us. I'm sure we got a recipe. We have a rather large collection of recipes in our portfolio that we can try to find something that maybe you do like.
Cool. Thank you. So this next one's for Curtis. In what ways has HPUIT utilized the rapidly advancing artificial intelligence for campus-wide systems?
Okay, so this is the question I've been looking forward to actually all night. This is the area that has exploded the most for us, and it's in the area you don't see very much. It's in cybersecurity. So we have a lot of tools that do both AI and ML. ML is machine learning, and some of you I know may have noticed more so a couple of years ago that when you traveled out of state or out of country, all of a sudden your account got locked. Well, there's a package called Abnormal Artificial Intelligence, Abnormal AI. We were the first higher ed to actually bring it in, and what it did is it would scan emails, but it would also learn your patterns. So is it Casey? If Casey was here all the time and then in a week from now he showed up in London, England, it would flag his account, and if it came up the next day the same way, it would lock his account until we got it. Became an issue during spring and fall break, but that's the biggest area is in cybersecurity. On the network, again, when you log in, if the system sees that you're doing something that a bad actor would do, it will close your port. It will shut you down, you'll be off the network, and you can't get back on until you come in and see us. Now, as far as applications go, what we do is we try to stay abreast with what Fortune 50 through Fortune 500 companies, what are they doing daily at work for their businesses? So you'll notice M365 we went to 2 years ago, it has Copilot in there for everyone. And right now, because of the partnership between Microsoft and OpenAI, GPT-5's there also for you to use. It's a great way of doing things, and it's across the Microsoft platform. So it's in Excel. Students showed me the other day how they were creating pivot tables just by going in there and entering the data and says, please create me a pivot table for these cells. We're also looking at it. There's a package called Adobe Express. I don't know if you've had a chance to look at it, but again, it's another AI-based package that allows you to go out there and create whatever it is you need. And these are wonderful packages. As we interview prospective partners, vendors, first thing we ask them is, what is your AI map for the next 3 to 5 years? Because where they are today is nice, but if they're not growing it and maturing it, it's not going to help you as you progress through the academic world here at High Point University. So we're constantly looking at the best tools. If there's a software package that you like, that you use in your classroom, and you feel that it doesn't have an AI feature to it, shoot me an email. That one may not, but we can ask them if it's in their roadmap, or we can say, I'm making this up, everyone, Scribe doesn't have it. By the way, Scribe does. Scribe doesn't have it, but Stormwinds does. Would that work for you? And then we can work with them to bring it in. So that's what we're doing. Every aspect of IT, we're looking at it for AI.
Perfect. Thank you, Curtis. So this next one's for Crystal. Why can't RAs work another campus job and be compensated for it, especially if they're willing/wanting to?
Yeah, so we get this question every year. So it is a federally mandated law that student employees cannot work more than 20 hours a week. So you can work an off-campus job, you can work for Harvest Table as well, because they aren't under the student employment umbrella, but you can't hold another student employment job. Now, if you're an RA and you're like, I don't ever work 20 hours a week, we need to have a conversation about how you're supporting your residents. But overall, the RA should be working 20 hours a week.
Perfect. Thank you, Crystal. So this last one's for Dan. What are your thoughts on our current conference affiliation? Has there been any discussion or long-term consideration about moving to a different conference in the future?
Sure. We annually look at our conference affiliation, and there's a lot of important factors that we're analyzing in that picture. The first one is, of course, we want to create brand recognition, advertising and promotion for the university brand. That's very important for us. In fact, last year with our 2 teams going to the NCAA tournament, it was calculated that we generated $40 million worth of brand recognition for High Point University during that little run with all of the TV appearances and social media hits and all kinds of things. So that's the power of athletics that we love. We want to bring that to the table, and the conference affiliation is important in that aspect. The other side of that coin is student-athlete welfare and well-being and their experience. Obviously, right now we're in a 3-state conference, meaning that our schools are located in Virginia, North Carolina, and South Carolina in the Big South. That's a very nice student experience conference to be in. Most of those journeys and trips are very short. The amount of missed academic class time is minimal. You're not flying on planes and missing lots and lots of classes. So we have to analyze both of those sides in the spectrum. There are a couple conferences that surround us that we've looked at, from everywhere from the ASUN to the CAA to the A10. Those are a multitude of conferences that we've analyzed and looked at. Some of those have extremely large footprints. When you look at an A10 conference that goes everywhere from St. Louis, Missouri to Davidson to Richmond and up north, and our men's lacrosse team competes in the A10. So you have to think about some of those factors and those aspects involved. We want to be competitive in any conference we're in, so we don't want to walk in a conference and become the doormat of the conference and be last. So that's another aspect. We want to be the champions of the conference and win in everything. And then the final thing I would say, in that conference alignment piece is really how can we engage with alumni. It's one of the factors that we've looked at. Is High Point is a growing university. You know, when President Cobain first got here, there was 1,500 students. Now there's over 6,000 students. Where are all those students coming from, and where are they potentially returning to have jobs? And so there is some marketing and branding advantage to having your footprint in a conference that's a very Northeast membership, because if we were to join a conference like that and have annual games in that state footprint, we could engage with alumni much more, perhaps use Carr Ramsey and invite parents and prospective students to games and things. So there is the power of that. So we have to kind of balance that. The great thing about us, I think, for any conference alignment opportunity in the future is people want winners. And that's the schools they're going to pick off from conferences and invite you to a new conference. So we're in a position of strength currently, how we're doing success-wise, and I think we'll keep analyzing the marketplace and determining if it's a right fit for us. We have had conferences knock on our door, and we have turned those opportunities down because of all of the factors that I just described. And so with the fit, the timing, and the future is something we're constantly analyzing in this space.
Perfect. So now before we move into questions from you guys, I just wanted to say thank you guys for submitting all of the questions that you did. We got over 60 questions this time, which is good considering the fact that I did email and text a lot, so I apologize for that one. But yeah, we can now move into you guys asking questions. So if any of you have anything, just remember to be respectful to our panelists up here. Yeah, Dylan.
Yes, my name is Senator Dylan McGlynn for the School of Humanities. My question is for Peter. So there are a lot of times when you go into the caf and you get a piece of grilled chicken from the table in the center, and you cut into it, and it will be really, I mean like really undercooked, and issues like that. So what's being done to take care of that?
Yeah, so I don't know, if you ever have that, bring it to us. A lot of times, you know, that's chicken thigh. And I know a lot of times, because we're looking at that too, it is red in there. I haven't seen it undercooked. If you ever have an instance where it is, because they temp in the back, when they're firing off that chicken. If something does look like it really is undercooked, bring it to our attention. We always have a manager or supervisor on duty. We can only deal with it in the moment, other than make sure that the processes are being followed. But I do know with the chicken thigh, there is more tendency to look like it's undercooked. A lot of times it's not. But if you ever feel like it is and you're concerned, send us a picture, bring it to the manager so we can check it out. Absolutely.
Okay.
Jackie.
Hi, Jackie, School of Engineering. This is a question for Peter. So a lot of another student who went to, I believe it was Grill or Silverline, they have celiac disease and they ordered something that was gluten-free, and they were out of the bread one day and we just gave them like non-gluten-free bread. How are you guys taking steps to make sure that students with allergens, whenever they're using mobile ordering, are able to make sure there's no cross-contamination, they're getting their right items? And is it possible maybe we could indicate that within the mobile ordering app, like having a profile where we could have allergens listed?
I didn't hear the last of it.
So basically, is it possible for the mobile ordering app, since like y'all have kind of a profile of sorts?
Yeah, there's no way, there's no functionality with that. We have tried to add different features. I'll tell you about that and then I'll go back to your question. We tried to put in some features on the mobile app to where it will prompt if you have an allergen first. And we haven't been able to get it to work, right? We're trying everything we can do to try to eliminate issues. Now, it's helpful if it would cooperate the way we wanted it to cooperate, to where you could say, I have a gluten allergy, and it's right there on the ticket as a safeguard. Now, going back to your other question, that's somebody being careless. So what we have is we do allergy training, right? All our salaried managers are allergy trained through the course. And then all of our hourlies are supposed to be allergy trained, light trained. So we actually have a registered dietitian on campus, Rachel Tucker, And if you haven't, you can, her office is right there outside the CAF in that hallway. She's there as a resource for all our students. But we have kind of meticulous processes, right? Every location should have gluten-free breads. They should have a purple cutting board knife kit just for gluten-free students. What you just told me drives me crazy, because we do have things like that happen. As much as we talk about allergens, and we have resources here that other accounts don't, that drives me crazy, right? One, we have 19 restaurants on campus. If you're out of gluten-free bread, we have it somewhere on campus. So that's somebody that's maybe uneducated or just lazy, right? They don't want to pick up the phone. They don't want to call. They don't want to say, hey, I need to get gluten-free bread. The other thing that drives me crazy are the careless employees that are careless. They read the ticket. But I do get it, right? Like at the diner, they do 1,000 transactions a day. And last year we had a bit of almost a scare on the Boar's Head station. Now she does a great job on there during the day, but she had a line of tickets. She was going so fast that she actually puts an allergen on someone that was allergic to something. Luckily, they didn't get sick, but it just shows you how quick things can happen. But we do try to safeguard about it. We talk about it all the time. I think right now, we're about 70% aller-trained with all our staff. Now, we have over 500 employees. That's pretty good. We're never going to get to 90, 100 because we have so much turnover with our hourly staff. But I just wanted you to know, like, the backstory. We take it very serious. We have people on our staff that are, allergic. We have a wider range of students to where, I'll get mildly sick to I'll be in the hospital. So it is on our radar all the time. And like I said, Rachel's job is to make sure that the integrity of what we do is there. But are we going to be perfect? No. But I hate that you had that experience. And I will go back. We have a leadership meeting next week. We have to remind ourselves, hey, you can't like fall asleep at the wheel. But we should never not have gluten-free bread, because we have it at the grill, the diner, Slane, Wannick, Butterfly, you name it. We have gluten-free bread. So just hearing that drives me crazy. Which, it's like you feel like you're getting there and then you take one step back. So I hate that happened. But and once again, if anything like that happens, send an email so we can jump on it. But as good as I think we are, I see we have issues, and it drives me crazy.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Probably more than you want to hear.
Jake.
Jake Charlie, Athletic Center. My question's for Mr. Hauser. I was wondering if there's any facility upgrades or expansions that the students should be aware of.
Great question. We're building a boathouse, for our rowing team. So we worked through the city of High Point. Obviously we don't own a lake, so we had to work through the process to build on city property, and we have a long-term lease with the city. So the boathouse construction is a little behind because we were supposed to have that done, but city bureaucracy and getting the city council approval and everything, all the steps, but we did get that approved, and so we'll be constructing that this November and December, and that'll probably open up in the spring, so that'll be great for both our Division I rowing team and our club rowing team will have access to the boathouse. So that's an awesome online thing. We have secured a naming rights gift for a indoor hitting and pitching facility. Our baseball team is in much need for a space like that during the winter time. We don't have that, and the top programs in the nation have that. So we are working on that design, finishing the design of that, and then hopefully getting that bid out to where we can have a construction occurring on that in the spring. A couple other items that we have out there that we are just in the preliminary stages on, but if you're very familiar with our athletes, we have a great pole vaulting program. We've had multiple pole vaulters that have stood on the podium at the NCAA championships, finishing second and third, and All-Americans in pole vault. And we currently rent a pole vault space here in town, which has the height specifications to pole vault in there over 18 feet and stuff. Sometimes these pole vaulters are going over the bar. And so we are looking at how can we design on university property a multi-purpose pole vaulting facility that could perhaps do pole vaulting and some of our jumps, our high jumps areas and perhaps some sprint capabilities. So that's a facility we have on our radar. And then the last facility that we are working on is an indoor golf hitting facility. We don't have that capability, very similar to baseball. When it's cold or there's inclement weather, you're taken offline as an athlete. And if the top golf programs in the country have indoor hitting facilities. And so I was actually meeting with the High Point Country Club actually last week, talking to them about how could we go into a long-term lease or a partnership very similar to we did the boathouse, and could we find donors and funding to build a shared facility on High Point Country Club's Emerywood Golf Course. So those are some of the main things we're working on right now. We have some other enhancements. If you saw, we have a brand new video board at baseball, which we just got online this year. We have brand new turf at Vert Stadium that we installed this summer. And we are looking at seeing how we can do maybe LED lights to increase our foot candles for our broadcasts at Vert Stadium and at the baseball stadium, and then enhance some of the colored lights and things you can do when you score a goal and stuff like that. So those are some other alternative projects. But hope that answered your question. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, thanks, Dan. Yeah.
Data pays goes on to mention. Question for Peter. I was curious if there's any possibility to have a set budget for Magic Meals when ordering in person, similar to how they have on the mobile ordering app.
I'm sorry, can you just repeat that?
Yeah, I was curious if there's a possibility to have a set budget for Magic Meals when ordering at restaurants in person, similar to how they have on the mobile ordering app. So like when you order like on Starbucks on the app, you have like a $10 budget to order whatever you want. But if you order it in person, you can only have like.
I got it, okay. Yes, this is gonna be an interesting one to explain. So the way the system works, right, it's technically not a budget. So technically a Magic Meal, it's an exchange. Okay, so it's like an entree, side, and a drink in 99% of the instances. So in order to make it work from like a mobile or even on the POS, you have values assigned, right? Because we sell things both as Magic Meals and as retail. So technically, it's not set up to give you a budget. Does that make sense? So actually, the correct way to order is walk up. Because before we did mobile, that was the correct way. Now, we all know you could order things on mobile that you're not going to get when you walk up there. We have no way around that with this given system. If we had that capability, it would be set up exactly the same way. Does that answer your question? Probably not what you wanted to hear. But actually, it's the other way around. When you walk up to Starbucks or wherever, the way you order there is actually the correct way that the program was set up. We just have no way to combat it with mobile. So I know with mobile, you probably are able to order things that you can't walk up there and get. I have really no way around that, just because the system, the Transact system we have is really hard for us to navigate. There are better systems out there, but I know they're expensive, and Transact, the company we use, makes it difficult to bring in like Grubhub, right? You guys probably use Grubhub. We could get that functionality here, but I think they make it very expensive for you to integrate.
Can I ask a follow-up question?
Yeah,
Go ahead.
for me?
Is there
I was hoping it was for Kristen. No.
is there any possibilities for students to suggest Magic Meal, like what applies to a Magic Meal at certain restaurants?
Yeah, send me something offline. I'm going to send you my personal email.
Yeah.
Maybe you could send that out.
Absolutely.
Because hospitality goes to our whole team. But if you got things like questions about that, you could send it to my email and I'll share it. But so give me an example of what is not included on a Magic Meal. Because there may be something out there like an outlier that, because really when we create, like when we did Panther Commons, I'd say 99% of the items we do are Magic Meals, right? Because our whole program is a board meal. At most schools, like when I was going to school, probably when Curtis and Dan were going to school, you just ate in the cafeteria and that's it. Nowadays, I left you out of it. But nowadays, our meal plan here is flexible, right? You could use a meal swipe at any location. It's probably not like that in most of your friends' schools. Even sushi, you can get on the Magic Meal. So there could be something maybe that was set up wrong or is missing, so I'd love to know what it is.
Okay, I'll shoot you an email.
Yeah, it could be a mistake. It may not be a mistake, but I'm hoping it is a mistake because I don't think we would create something. Now obviously like where we have like a full pizza, that can't be a Magic Meal. But if it's a regular entree, I'm hoping it's on the Magic Meal. So, but yeah, send me, I'll share my contact information. Or you can always just send it, if you can't wait, you can send it on the hospitality, but we'll look into that for sure.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
MJ.
MJ with Athletic Center. My question for Ms. Harvey. So, this is like a personal question. My roommates and I, we've been out of our dorm for a month because of mold. We haven't got like a timetable to return, and it's not like we're gonna be back until next semester. So, is there any like type of way we can like how do we go about the process of like speaking to somebody to figure out how we can like figure out our stuff for next year? Because we haven't been in our dorm since fall break, and we won't be back in our dorm until probably at first we were only supposed to be out for a week, but then we just kept getting like emails every week about it getting pushed back 14 days, and it doesn't look like we're going to be back until next semester. So I was just wondering like what's the process of like figuring that out for like we're now at University Village housing, but that's obviously not the same housing we've been I guess paying for York. So how does that look for like next year housing?
Are you in York 207?
Yes.
I have an answer for you. I have an answer for you that I can speak with you about offline, but yes, we do. So just like I mentioned earlier, like facilities is not my wheelhouse, but it does impact the residential experience. And so we do have to partner with facilities, and it is our job, residents' life's responsibility to be communicative with you. And I do recognize that we have communicated some with you when it comes to that space, but we haven't done the best that we could have with your specific situation. And part of that has to do with the communication between us and facilities as well, right? So they're trying to get the job done. They have contractors, and they're trying to get updates from contractors and getting a remediation team and all of that, and also trying to remember to keep us up to speed and also keep parents up to speed as well. And so we have identified some ways that we can improve that, and I think we've done great with this next round of relocations that we unfortunately had to do. Due to the directive that facilities gave us, but I do have a specific answer for your situation. But in general, yes, we do recognize that as an area for improvement, but Dave and I work closely to continue to improve that communication line between us and students and his team and his contractors.
Yeah.
Jordan Hager, class of 2028 senator. So my question is for Mr. Hauser. As the pickleball and tennis team are on a rising members, is there any plans for increasing the amount of courts specifically for pickleball or for tennis?
Yeah, we have looked at footprints on campus to add pickleball courts, perhaps eliminating them from the Millis Center area and creating another pickleball area and zone so that then we could have 6 tennis courts instead of the 4. So I'm working with Barry Kitley on that currently. There are some designs and footprints that we're exploring on our 600-acre campus. If we put it here, put it there. We do not have anything selected currently, but do know that there's active consideration. We know that both of those areas of interest have expanded and grown a ton, and we see the need that students have for more court space, and we're actively trying to identify those and create some funding for that. I'm hopeful that a decision could be made, going into the spring and creating something for next year. I'm hopeful.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Brady.
Mr. Mendola, I've got a question for you. My name's Brady Dirk. I'm the executive treasurer. I was wondering what oil we use for cooking, and if it's canola, if there's any healthier alternatives.
You know what? I'll have to find out. I really don't know what oil we're using, but I will find out.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank
Good
you.
question.
Yeah.
Clint Hopkins, sheriff for
That is not, I think anytime you check, it has to be on the campus. When he's asking if they can check meal plans, check meal, how many meals?
I'm sorry, I heard Peter and I wasn't listening. I'm good with that, right? Say it again, please.
So the checking meal site requires campus Wi-Fi. Might be because of security, but I was wondering if there's a way to be able to check swipe without using campus Wi-Fi. Or is it through the way you guys do it, like requiring campus Wi-Fi? Like, is it able to be able to expand it to outside?
You shouldn't have to. Do me a favor if you get a chance, go to my.highpoint.edu. And there's a place there, that's just a big service portal for everything here at the university. Go there, see, and do it when you're off campus, do it from your phone at Panera's or somewhere. If that doesn't work, please reach out to me, because I'm not aware that we're blocking it.
Okay.
All right, but please do.
It's done that before, I'll give it another shot. Thank you.
Yeah, and just email me or give me a call, whichever works easier for you.
John Silk, Turning Point USA. My question's for Mr. Barker. Has there been any consideration for a class to be taught as a foreign language under programming? That has been offered at my high school and my middle school, was a language we could take as programming to learn the intro and basics to coding. Has that been discussed at High Point at all?
Well, that's not my area, but I do know that when we revamped the general education requirements, there were certain new things that were added to it related to the digital world. Send an email to me, and I will reach out to Danny Brooks, he's our registrar, and see if that's a possibility. I'll also reach out to Michael Utshore. He's the dean of the School of Engineering at Computer Science, falls under that, and I'll ask him if there's a GE class that you could take. Great question.
Blake.
Blake Bird, class of 2029 treasurer. I had a question for Crystal. I do know that for Panther Commons are now for the incoming freshmen coming next year. And I was wondering, because you have expanded, I think it's easy to speculate that there will be a bigger incoming class than there currently is. What's going to happen first? Another dorm building, you think? Or you think a hard cap on like incoming freshmen and pretty much lowering attendance? I have an acceptance rate, like which one do you think would come first?
Yeah, half of this question is an admissions question, and half of this is a housing question. And again, my role is really big on partnerships, so we have to really talk with Carl Ramsey and his team, and Dana and her team about what are their goals, and then can we really meet the expectation that they have for the amount of freshmen that they're trying to admit. Right now, they are anticipating a small increase, not anything drastic like this year was. So we are being more proactive in ensuring that we have enough freshman beds, but we're also prioritizing our undergrad returning students as well. So we really do anticipate being able to house our rising sophomores as well as our rising juniors and seniors, as well as the freshman class that's coming in. We do not have another building on the horizon, but we are still acquiring houses on the streets adjacent to the heart of campus. That still continues to be a project that the university prioritizes, so we'll add beds that way, but right now we don't see our occupancy changing drastically next year.
Yeah.
Field, Executive President. I have gotten many requests for Peter. Celsius and Alani are the two energy drinks that most students want to have on our campus. I think most of the Senate here can agree. So what is the process, or have there been any thoughts on adding those two beverages?
Celsius, what's the other one?
And Alani.
Who?
Alani.
Alani? Alani?
I don't drink them, but I just see them.
Yeah, so it gets tricky with that, right? Because we are a co-campus. And so anything that goes in the C-store has to be a Coke product, except for there are things that they don't carry, like milk. We do kind of push the limit a little bit, but we have to be careful. I could look into it. I honestly don't know. I don't know if that would violate Coke. I know that we've been asked to do things before that we couldn't, and also some of it is to a distributor, right? We have to find a distributor, and if we're not going through Coke, it gets a little tricky. So, kind of vague answer, but I can look into it. I know that the energy drink market is pretty stout, and I know we do have a lot of offerings. And so I'll have to do a little research on that and see if we can get it in there. But sometimes there's just blatant things we can't put in our locations. But I know, like, I think we might have snuck in Cheerwine somewhere, and technically that's not. But that's like such a niche thing. But yeah, so we do have a fine line about that, because we do have the university has a co-contract. I know Dan, right?
Yes.
So we try to be cognizant and respectful of that, but that doesn't mean we couldn't get something like that in. So good question.
Perfect. So, well, let's thank our panelists with a round of applause.
I'm sorry, I know everyone wants to get here, but I just had a question. Does everyone know we have streaming service here on campus?
That's a great.
Okay. Does everybody know if you live in a house off campus, you have streaming services? Okay. So emails have gone out, so we're going to send them out again. If you're on campus, you can stream Spectrum U. And you have access to all the services, HBO, all that such. And if you're away from campus, you can log in and go to Spectrum U. Certain things you won't have access to because they're considered premium and they're tied to IP addresses. If you're in a house, you have DirecTV streaming. We had to separate them because Spectrum is who provides our internet services for the houses, and they'll only do DirecTV. So thank you for letting me ask that, but you saw we have to do a better job of publicizing this.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have just two announcements, one from me, one from Brady, and then I think Crystal's going to have one more thing to say after. But so next Thursday is our final Senate of the semester. That's going to be the last Senate that's held in Phillips 120. Genuinely, I wanted to thank the Office of Student Life along with Claudia for helping us secure Calicut for Senate and UCAB next semester. So whether that's Bradley Taylor there in the back, Dylan Denning, Amanda, or Gwen, I genuinely can't thank you guys enough. As you guys can see, As you guys can see, this room is a bit more full than it's ever been before. I apologize to those of you who are in the back in rolling chairs, but we will be in Calicut for the entirety of next semester, so you will see a little bit of changes when it comes to Senate and different things like that, but hopefully all for the best. Now I'm going to let Brady come up here and talk about budgets.
Hey everybody, we have budgets due tomorrow night at 11:59. If you are looking to where to go, finance and procurement page on the High Point SGA website will take you to the budget submission form on Airtable. If you have any questions, email me at sgatreasurer@highpoint.edu. Thank you.
Yeah, now I wanted to invite Crystal to give a bit of an announcement.
Yes, so I did receive all of the other questions that were submitted that weren't asked tonight, and a lot of them are just general housing questions. And it's great timing because tomorrow from 12 to 2 on the Slane track is our housing fair. So you will learn information about the housing selection process. We'll have all our dates and all of our housing options. You can learn more from our Residence Life team about the different amenities in different spaces. If you live in York or Caffey or Blessing, but you've never seen North College, never seen Village, never seen the houses or understand what it means to live there, this is the perfect time for you to come and learn that and learn about what housing selection looks like. And then that night at 5:30 p.m. in Panther Commons, we're collabing with SGA for a housing mixer. So if you're looking for a new roommate, some new housemates to live with, I encourage you to come so you can meet other students to live with and also spread the word for others who may be interested as well. Thank you.
Yeah, and that brings up a great point. Every single question that you guys had asked, all 60 plus, have been sent out to each of these 4 panelists. So if they weren't asked tonight, they have those questions and they will get back to whether if it's able to happen or not. Other than that, I just wanted to say thank you all and have a great evening.